Just a quick note, we've got 2 weeks left of the WVO Designs discount code. In the next 2 weeks, use discount code NotSoGrandGarage at checkout on WVODesigns.com for 10% off anything in their store. They are allowing back orders on the centrifuges and such, and if there's something that's not showing in stock on their website and you need to order it, a part or something like that, give them a call. They may be able to back order that for you and honor the discount code that way. The discount code and a link to their site is in the description of this video. With all that said, we hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Let's get to work. Welcome back to Not So Grand Garage. Today I'm out in the driveway because the old flatbed's giving me a little bit of a fit here lately. Yesterday or so, the other day, I was on the way home and it started acting like it was running out of fuel. And I could switch back to the diesel tank and it would run fine. So I know it's an issue with either this tank or this filter, which I just changed this filter not too long ago, so it shouldn't be plugging up, but I think I'm pulling sediment from this tank, and that's happened to me before. I got this tank used and I actually I plugged the filter solid with leaves at one point, even though I cleaned this tank out. So I'm not sure how that happens, but we're gonna go on and pull this filter off and take a look at it and see what's going on. I'm going to shut this valve off and isolate this setup, which the fuel selection valve is on the diesel side anyway, so the only thing that should drain off is this little bit of line going to this filter head. So I'm going to pull this filter off and see what it looks like. So I got the filter off and I'm not seeing anything crazy going on there. And I didn't get any chunks or anything out of it. The filter's not got any real weight to it now that it's drained down. But I did find something interesting. When I turn this valve on, which keep in mind this is 1/2-inch fuel line and it's gravity fed. Yeah, I'm not getting any real flow out of this line. So there we go, there's a little trickle. This should be flowing a heck of a lot faster than that. This oil's not very thick. I mean, you can see it dripping off me like that. I run this stuff pretty thin in the winter. So yeah, we've got an issue between that filter head and the tank itself. So I'm going to disconnect this hose down here and see about blowing back through this line and see if that takes care of it. And yeah, don't mind the ventilation holes. You know, we're gonna take care of that here soon. I've got everything sitting in the shop to put new cab corners and rockers in the rear of this thing, but you know, time just hasn't allowed that to happen yet. So anyways, let's keep it fixing this. So I got the hose disconnected from the filter head. I'm going to turn this back on and see here. Yeah, valve's on. And nothing. Hey, there it goes. Barely a trickle. So it's between this valve and the drain point on the tank, which that's one of the issues with using the drain on the tank, is if there's any nastiness in the tank, it's going to end up plugging the drain up. So I'm going to make a giant mess and I'm going to try and blow back through this with the air compressor and see what happens. Hey, we're getting better flow out of it. Not the best, but it's better. I'm going to go and I'm going to pull this hose off because this hose is getting pretty short and I had to cut a little notch in it to get it off the hose barb. So I'm going to replace this short section of hose. I'm going to blow out the fittings here, and while I've got this off, I'm going to make sure to blow this out again up here, and hopefully that'll get us going. We'll see. So after blowing this out a bit, we're getting a nice stream out of it. So that pretty well means we've got a blockage in the tank, or we've got sediment or something coming down and blocking that outlet, which that tank's getting replaced here soon, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm going to hook everything back up. I may even spin this old filter back on it because I don't think it was causing a problem, and we'll see what happens. So I decided to go on and put a new filter on it while I was at it. You know, might as well. So I'm going to turn this on. I also replaced this section of hose because it was getting kind of short, which I think this hose here has been on the truck for, well, since I set this system up. So I'm kind of curious what the inside of this hose looks like. So we're going to take it in and cut it open, see if it's breaking down or anything weird, just out of curiosity's sake. But yeah, now I'll go on and show you how I prime these fuel systems. So I went on and switched the fuel supply valve on the floor of the truck over to the oil tank. Now I'm going to show you guys how I prime these systems, which if you've got the factory filter head with the Schrader valve on it, this right here, a cheapo vacuum pump, I think I gave like 20 bucks on eBay for it. Came with a little kit, came with all kinds of different fittings, a little cup for instance, and a tire chuck. Now let me show you what I'm going to do. Now this would work better with a locking Schrader or tire chuck, but anyways. Applying a vacuum. Hey! We're going to keep pumping till we fill this up. And I like to do this twice. So I'm going to go on and release this. Now I'm going to take this and dump the oil out of it. I'll come right back. There we are. Got it empty again. So we're going to go right back into it and do the same thing again. There we go. So it was pulling straight fuel there for the last little bit. So I think we've got all the air out of the system. So yeah, that's pretty well what I do anytime I change fuel filters on this truck. There's no cranking involved, no nonsense. Typically, if it's on the diesel side and I'm just changing this engine side filter, fill it up, fill the filter up, and I fill this cup up once, it'll fire pretty well instantly. There's no stumbles, no nonsense, because it takes care of it. It takes all the air out of the system. And it takes a whole of 2 minutes to do instead of draining the batteries or any other nonsense you've got like that. So now I'm going to switch it back over to diesel fuel, start it up, get it running, and then I'll switch it over to oil, let it run for a little bit, make sure all the air is out of the system, and we'll call it good. So got her started on diesel fuel. She's a little cranky this morning because it's kind of cold, but I'm gonna let it run for just a minute, make sure all the air is out of it, and then I'm gonna switch it over to oil and see if we can make sure all the air is purged out of that side too, and we should be good to go. After that, I'm gonna go in the shop and we're gonna cut that old fuel hose open and see what it's looking like and go from there. We may stall out here in just a bit, but we'll see. I'll keep it idled up, keep that pump moving, see what happens, and I'll switch it back over. Well, it's been running for a good bit now since I switched over to the oil side. Haven't had any hiccups at all, so I'd say we got all the air out of the system with that method I showed. That works really well, especially if you're sitting on the side of the road with a filter that's plugged up and the system's fighting you. So typically I'll keep that in the toolbox in the truck or something, along with some fuel filters, just in case, because even if you're just running diesel fuel, as you guys know with these old mechanical trucks and the mechanical lift pumps, stuff like that, sometimes they don't want to purge all the air out of the system and it can really fight you. But yeah, no issues so far. We're coming up to temperature, so all seems fine. I'm gonna go on and switch it back to diesel, let it run for a good bit, so I don't have to try and start this thing on oil tomorrow morning. But yeah, we'll go on and get in the shop and cut that hose open, take a look at it, and wrap this up. So we're back in the shop, and I've got this section of hose. This is the piece I pulled off of the between the filter head and the tank on the bed. This is the same Gates hose that I run on the bus and that I've suggested other people use. This piece of hose has been on that truck for at least 5 years, probably longer. So we're going to take a knife, we're going to cut it down the edge, peel it open, and see how it looks on the inside. See if I can do this without cutting myself, but we'll see. There we go. And as you can see also, it's not super stiff or anything like that, but let's see here. Which it is cold out, but yeah, 5 years of oil use, and there's no signs of this hose breaking down or anything. It's not soft on the inside. Looks like the day I installed it. So yeah, can't complain there. So yeah, that's good to know. So the Gates Barricade hose, good to go. Well, the truck's still sitting out here running, hasn't given me any issues, no hiccups, no nothing. So I think we're good there. I'll be driving it a bit tonight, so I'll know if that was a problem right off. Like I said, I am planning on replacing all the tanks on this truck. Going to replace the bed tank because I don't like how that tank's set up. I'm going to put a 38-gallon tank in the back, and I'm going to replace the side saddle tank. I'm going to put all new sending units in so I can actually see how much fuel I've got on a regular basis. But yeah, a lot to come on this truck. This truck's sticking around, it's not going anywhere. We'll be buttoning up the bodywork here soon. We're going to be painting it. sorta. We're gonna be Raptor lining it just like the Mercedes, but a different color. If you got any comments, complaints, questions, what have you, drop them in the comment section below. If you want to support the channel, the PayPal account is in the description of the video, as well as we've got SuperThanks enabled, so you can go that route. Feel free to do so. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and we appreciate you watching.